So let's talk a little bit about rumination and limerence. These are both traits that both autistics and people with borderline personality disorder tend to experience pretty frequently. Rumination is when you consistently think of something over and over and over, something that's happened to you, something you've said, something someone else has said, whatever. You think about it over and over and over again. And it begins to weigh on your mental health. Limerence, on the other hand, is when the best way I can describe it is continuously thinking about a person. This is generally because they were nice to you. Maybe they're attractive, but generally it's because they gave you some kind of attention. And again, most of the time, it's autistics and people with BPD who experience this on a pretty frequent basis. And limerence is often confused for lust and love, strong romantic feelings, but that isn't exactly what it is from our point of view. Because this person was nice to us and treated us like a human being rather than like some oddball or whatever, or acted like they were irritated with us, we want to get to know them more. We want to get to know them better. We want to strike up a friendship with them. Oftentimes, this will evolve into that individual. If a friendship is developed, that person will end up becoming our favorite person. The favorite person is someone that an autistic or someone with BPD feels like they need to be around all the time, that they want to spend all their time with. Maybe they tag along with, follow behind at parties or social events or whatever. And then when that breaks down for whatever, the black and white thinking kicks in, and then that favorite person becomes the target of our anger. And then we no longer like that person. Now, rumination, on the other hand, I experience this quite frequently as both an autistic and someone with BPD. In fact, I just experienced it yesterday in class. In my psychopathology class, we had to split up into groups of 3 or 4 people, and come up with a shared diagnosis for the individual in this case study. Everyone else was choosing generalized anxiety disorder. To me, GAD feels like it almost feels like a cop-out. It's so generalized, so everyone gets diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. And so I wanted to look a little bit deeper in this case study. And I found that the individual met 100% of the criteria for panic disorder. I was the only one. I felt like the outsider. I felt like I had to argue my case 10 times more because everyone else wanted to diagnose GAD. And maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I'm not sure. Social cues aren't really my strong suit. But the more they kept pushing for GAD, the more I felt my opinion didn't matter, that my opinion was under attack. And so I began to shut down. When I get to this point, I stop verbalizing. I stop communicating via speech. I will communicate via text, via keyboard, so that I can better relay my thoughts. Because, as you guys have seen, it's very difficult for me to get my thoughts across verbally, especially when I have such a limited point of time. And that's where text really comes in handy. And now rumination, it helps to talk about it with somebody else, someone who's not going to judge you, just to get those feelings out of your head. But if you don't have someone to talk to about it, if you aren't able to get those thoughts, those feelings out of your head, rumination can basically, it can take over. It becomes all you think about, until basically you stop thinking about it, until you've worn your brain out thinking about it. And similarly, say that 10 times fast, with limerence, the person you latch onto with limerence, you tend to think about constantly. Sometimes it's romantic, sometimes it's just affectionate. There have been times this has happened with me, a lot of times. And it's usually a lot of times it's after I have a dream of the person at night. Maybe it's a dream of something we did in the past or whatever. And my mind latches onto that memory. And that person becomes all I can really think about for a while. And it's not something I wish I did. It's something I wish didn't happen, because it can be quite annoying. It really gets my mind going into overdrive. It makes me feel weird. It makes me feel disturbed sometimes. But that's just the way our brains work. If you're autistic or have BPD or one of the other neurodivergences, because of the trauma from our past and because of the extra neurons in our brains, we latch onto positives more than anything else, whether it be a positive memory or a positive action, positive word, a positive thought. We latch onto those. And really the only way to get over limerence, in all honesty, is to wear it out, to overthink about it. But while you're overthinking about it, you also have to you have to keep telling yourself that this isn't real, that that it can't lead to something, it's not going to lead to something, that you don't want it to lead to something, you know. And eventually that limerence starts to level back out. And yeah, you may still have positive feelings for the person, but it's not that high like it was at the height of the limerence. Some great techniques for this are the ACT 5 senses therapy exercises that I relayed in a video on here. The snow globe exercise, which I'll have to redo again sometime because it's buried in my videos. Different ACT exercises can help with both limerence and rumination. It should also be noted that psychoanalysis can also help.